G'day and welcome to A Down Under Yarn. I'm your host Fiona, also known as Fifykins. Today is Tuesday the 28th of July. I really want to start by saying thank you to everyone for the most amazing messages I got after I came back. It's been 3 weeks. I had hoped to record earlier, but I'm just going to have to play it by ear as to when I can record. When I'm up to it. So at the moment it's really 2 steps forward, 1 step back. It seems all the time. Something will crop up and seemingly small things will just set me right off. Some things that aren't so small as well, but hey. In the last 3 weeks I went down to Bendigo to the Australian Sheep and Wool Show. It was my birthday present from my mum, which was just lovely. I had paid my accommodation back in January, February. There's a group of us and we rent out a house, a huge house out at Lake Eppalock, which is probably about 30 kilometres out of Bendigo. It's on a lake, it's rural, it's in the middle of bush. We've got the lake there, we get kangaroos that come in the evening and in the morning and sun themselves and drink the water. The bird life and the frog life is amazing, and it's nice. Whilst I think I'd love staying in Bendigo, it's nice to be able to go for that little bit of a drive and somewhere that is just so remote and so isolated. At night the stars were just phenomenal, you know, it was just amazing. It was cold, it was pretty freezing for Australian standards. I know people in the Northern Hemisphere laugh, but the week I was down there, Queensland was having snow. Now that's pretty unheard of. That would be akin to Florida getting some snow. So if anyone can tell me that Florida has had snow and that I'm still laughing, I'm kidding myself, I'm pleased to hear it. So I flew down on the Thursday and picked up a hire car, which was it just goes to show how my brain's working. I go to pick up my hire car and they say, you've actually booked it for tomorrow. And there were people everywhere and I basically just burst into tears and, you know, and she goes, honey, it's okay, we'll give you one today, it's fine. But of course that ate up a whole chunk of money that I wasn't expecting to have to spend because of course I had to pay for the extra day. Went up to Bendigo, went to the Woollen Mill. I'm going to show my acquisitions at the end. Went to the Woollen Mill and caught up with Charlotte and Lucy, who were 2 of the people I was staying with. There's a group of us, and you know, when you get together with your people, and it's like that with a whole lot of people. I sat and knitted on the Saturday afternoon, and it's just a group of people that I see once a year, but it's amazing to catch up, and catch up now on Facebook and catch up in other places, but we actually don't get to hug each other except for once a year, and it's pretty amazing. So anyway, I went to Woollen Mills. I had a look in the back room. Bendigo Woollen Mills is it's probably the largest woolen mill in Australia. They send their fleeces to China. They source their fleeces throughout New South Wales, send them off to China to have them processed, come back to spin them in Bendigo. They have what they call a back room. So they have their front room, their mail order business, which is amazing. Then they have their back room, which is often, they will have, usually they're selling things in 200-gram balls. Sometimes they'll get the end of the run and there'll be like a 75-gram set because they've got however many spindles set up spinning the actual wool or the yarn. They will have a set of 8 75-gram balls and they'll have that at a discount. I didn't find anything out there that I was super keen to get. There were bags of fleece and I contemplated getting a sweater's worth, and there were 2 colours there that I was eyeing off. Both were over a kilo's worth of fleece, fully processed, fully ready to spin. And then I thought, no, I just couldn't justify it, knowing that I still had to get to the Sheep and Wool Show the following day and the Artisan Fibre Festival, which is formerly known the Muster. I think we're all still going to call it the Muster. So I bought, I'll show you later on what I got there. Then we went out to Bendigo Pottery, and I will pause because I've left my tea inside of my amazing tankard that I bought. Let me go and get that now. Okay, sorry about that. I had made a pot of tea and left it on the bench, so I'm glad I was able to go and get that. Went to the Bendigo Pottery. And the Bendigo Pottery, I can show you what I got there. There we go. Established in 1858. I got a tankard, which is perfect for tea. So, there we go. And the tankard, I have my 4-cup teapot, and it takes about 3 cups of tea in there, so it's pretty good. And looked around there, could have spent a gazillion dollars there. It is amazing stuff. You see people throwing clay, making their own pottery. You see they've got a seconds room at the back, and again I was tempted by a few things, and apart from that how am I going to get it home safely aspect, I just didn't have a lot of money. So we had a bite to eat there. Then we went out to Lake Eppalock and built a fire in the fireplace there. I was glad I still remembered how to build a proper fire that went. I did smoke the house out at one stage when I threw the most humongous log on there and it wasn't back far enough, but that's another story. And we just sat and knitted and chatted, and Lucy had bought a loom, a shacked cricket loom I think, and set that up, and she was weaving away and we were knitting and chatting and drinking red wine and having a really lovely time. There was just 3 of us there that night. On Friday, the plan had been, last year we went to the muster and sat at the muster. Now at Bendigo there is the Sheep and Wool Show, and the muster's like a fringe festival. It is held at the North Bendigo Bowls Club, which is just down the road from the showgrounds where the sheep festival is, the Sheep and Wool Festival. And it, so it's just down the road from the showgrounds, and it has a group of people that are vending there. It's in a beautiful heated bowls club rooms where you can sit down and knit and try out the spinning wheels and the looms they had there, buy things, chat. They had I think the Bowls Club Auxiliary were selling lunches there. I didn't actually get any, but they had scones with jam and cream, beer at real 1972 prices. Sorry, that's a reference to Cracker Jack, the Australian movie. Didn't actually have a beer there, so I don't know how much their beers cost. But we're able to, so the plan was we were going to go there and perhaps hang out there for the day. We got there and there weren't many people there. And you know when there's not a lot of people in a room but there's quite a few vendors, the atmosphere is, it's not as buzzing as when there are more people. You know when you get too many people, but there weren't many people there. We had a look around, went to the Spinning Woody. Spinning Woody was there, so we were able to have a look at his stuff, have a chat to him, have a chat to Sheila the Blue Heeler, his dog, and have a look around. And then we said, let's go off to the show. So went down the road to the showgrounds and went to the show. We got there probably around 11ish, and again, I went a couple of years ago on the Friday, and I don't remember, it wasn't crowded. It was lovely. You could walk around, you could chat to people. The first place we went to was Charlie from Ixwell Bunny. We just flooded there, and she saw us and just comes up and gave us a huge hug. You know, had a look around the pavilions, went up, had some amazing barbecued goat for lunch. They had goat chorizo and goat, chopped up roast goat that they crisped up on the barbecue. It was just absolutely stunning. Goat sausage, goat cutlet. Oh, amazing. And there are so few places that you can go where you know you're going to get something that is gluten-free, that is I don't like classing food as healthy and unhealthy. I don't think it's a very helpful binary, but something that's actually nourishing for your body instead of just having a bucket of chips. So that was pretty good. Went there, had a look through pavilions, and then we looked at the time and it was close to 5. And we're like, whoa. And a whole lot of people who were coming up after work on Friday had messaged us and they were heading out towards the house. So we said, look, let's just go and pick up our stuff and head out there. So we did, and that was great. You know, there were lots of more people there that night, people I'd never met before. I knew them. I chatted to them in our little group we have on Facebook about Bendigo. So that was really good. We did our show and tell with what we'd bought. And set up till sometime close to 2, I think it was, playing Cards Against Humanity, which was hilarious. When you get people who'd never heard of the game before or played it, it was really funny. Then on the Saturday, sort of had a bit of a lazy semi-sleep in and left around 10ish to go to the show. Went to the show again. Now the funny thing is that my good friend Donna, who I knew was coming up for the day, with her husband, who I've actually known probably longer than I've known Donna, who I met through Twitter in the very, very early days of Twitter, and met him at a Twitter meetup when Donna wasn't there. I think she was just pregnant with Molly. And that would have been 5 or 6, 7 years ago, probably 7 years ago. And Cody is the one who helps me out with my blog. So it's really lovely. A lovely, lovely family. And I'd messaged Donna earlier in the week and said, I'll be there on Saturday, I'll look out for you, I'll text you when we get there. And I hadn't texted her. I come in the gate, I turn towards the pavilion. I'm thinking, will I go and grab a coffee? No, I just think I'll turn towards the pavilion. Suddenly, there is this little girl who's just tearing at high speed with her arms open. Miss Phoebe Kids! So that was just beautiful. That was Miss Molly. And hey, Miss Molly, I know she likes sitting down and watching the podcast with her mum. It was just lovely, and catching up with Cody, and he said, oh, Donna's in there shopping, so I was able to go in. And really, 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 really lovely to see them. Went again through, I didn't really have any money to spend on the Saturday, but I think the joy of being there is being able to look at things, being able to plan things, being able to see what other people are doing, what other people are buying, and catching up with friends. I came out, and who should I bump into but the amazing Kiki from Yarn vs Zombies, and also Lupin Owns Jacob, who is Holly from what's the podcast called? Holly Dapp. And Holly is, I'm sorry, I'm just looking this one up because it's just gone from me. Going through my subscriptions, it's down here in my watch. There we are. It's just Holly Dapp, I believe. Let me just mute that. Swift Knits, that's what it's called. There we go. So I caught up with both of those and Kiki's friend who was with them. So I gave them a hug. I meant to catch up with them later on, but we just didn't bump into each other. Looked through a couple of the pavilions we hadn't seen on the Friday, including all the Fibercraft entries, which were pretty amazing. Went through again, but it was a lot busier, a lot more people there, so you weren't able to chat to a lot of the vendors. I got my one thing that I had planned on getting that day, so that was good. Went again to the food area, which was absolutely packed. Some people queued again for the goat, which I'm kind of wishing I had done, but instead I queued for a baked potato, which was really yummy, but the goat was pretty amazing too. Then went down to the muster and sat at the muster for the afternoon, and that was just lovely. You know, catching up with people, talking to people, but seeing what they're working on, what they're on. You know, Dr. Bones, who was there, I think her 17th pair of socks for the year or something absolutely bizarre. And what are we in July? and they're pretty intricate socks she's doing. She's doing cookie A socks and all sort of stuff like that. Seeing people doing casting on sweaters, seeing their Bendigo sweaters. That's something I haven't brought out again. I'll have to go and grab that. Although I think, no, that's next to the bed and Mimel's asleep, so I will leave that. It's 9:30 in the morning. He's on leave for a couple of weeks, so he tries to catch up on as much sleep as he can, which is nice for him. So, excuse me. So then went back to the house again. A couple of different people out there that night, and that's the joy of the house we rent. It has 4 bedrooms that sleep 2 to 3 people. Then it has this retreat area down the back, which has obviously been tacked onto the house, which has like 3 bunks in there and a queen size bed and a baby cot and 2 or 3 different single beds. So I think the house sleeps about 16 or 17 people all up. That would be challenging with just 2 bathrooms, but still, it is just gorgeous and we love it out there. And when I rang to say we were leaving on the Sunday, we booked it again for next year. So that was that. I had to get the car back to the airport, so I had time to wait at the airport before I came home. So I sat down in coffee shop and knitted because I couldn't actually check in. I was flying Jetstar and you can't check in until 2 hours before the flight leaves. So I had an hour and a half, hour and 3/4 to kill. So bought a coffee, sat there and knitted, and actually ran into someone I know from Cairns who was, his girlfriend was actually flying on the flight I was on. And he goes, oh, I saw someone down there. And he said, I just didn't put 2 and 2 together. He said, I thought it was you. And I saw someone knitting and I thought, nah, no one in Cairns knits except for Fiona. And then I'm thinking, but that's Fiona. And it was. So it was really quite funny. So we had a bit of a chat. And yeah, got home quite late. And then spent last week trying to catch up on uni. So uni started 3 weeks ago. It's harder and easier than I thought it was going to be, which is a bit weird to say. I've got to remember it's a first year subject again. So the first couple of weeks, 3 out of my 4 subjects have spent a lot of time on referencing. I kind of know how to do referencing. I was doing my honours thesis, so I kind of know a bit about that. So I've been able to watch the lectures, and there's no online shoots really, but do that sort of stuff, which has been great. Then on, what else happened last week? Something else happened last week. I can't remember now. My brain's a bit of a wash. The other thing that, of course, happened in the last 3 weeks was the Cairns show. My entries I haven't got back yet. A friend picked them up because I was in Bendigo, so I will show them next time I record. Suffice to say, I did a lot better than I thought was possible. I was awarded the show champion, which is the highest number of points for all entries. I think there were 6 firsts, 2 seconds, 2 thirds, and a highly commended. So out of all my entries, only 2 items didn't get a place, and they were both in categories where I'd entered multiple items. So I was absolutely amazed. I didn't get the little stuffy finished that I had hoped to enter. I had taken on too much and came down with a migraine the day before and just spent the day in bed and thought, I think it's a message that I am doing too much. So thank you very much to the person who messaged me in particular and said don't spread yourself too thin, which I think I kind of needed to hear as well. So she knows who she is and she's a dear friend, and I really, really, really appreciated that message. I've been trying to catch up again a bit on uni. I've been waiting on textbooks. I've only been able to order them in dribs and drabs because of funds, but you know, they should almost all be here soon. One of the lecturers is really lovely and scans that, as she said, for the first 4 weeks she will scan the textbook text for us and put that up online, but after that we need the book. So that's helpful, and a lot of people are in a similar boat to me. We're poor impoverished students, and I will mention, I will say thank you to those people who have supported my GoFundMe. It really means a lot to have your support. Now, onto the knitting stuff. I have finished my Camp Loopy project. I was knitting the Cameo Shawl. I can't remember who it's by. It's on my project page. When I saw you last, that was where I was up to. It's knit on the bias with a like a mini picot edge. It's like a little sawtooth edge. My edge shows that I was on drugs when I was knitting a lot of it, and that was when I was in hospital, and then when I came home and had my migraine and I tried to knit on it. So there are some bits there. I haven't blocked this yet, so it's not that obvious, but to me it is, where I've actually done things incorrectly. It's a design element. Finished most of part A, which is the solid colour. This is in Madeline Tosh Merino Light, the Georgia O'Keeffe colourway, and the contrast colour is Mineral. Now, this was my first finished project with Tosh Merino Light, and everyone raves about it. I'm not convinced. I suspect I had a bad skein of Mineral. It was very thick and thin, and down here in the lace section was where it was quite thick and thin, which was annoying. Not what I was expecting. I found it really slitty. You had to really concentrate. It's not something you can just sit on and knit. And whereas this is a project that I wanted to just sit there and talk to people and knit, I actually had to be concentrating to make sure I put the needles through. Admittedly, I was using my signature needles, so they are extra sharp. But at the same time, I don't know. I know I definitely wouldn't use it for a garment because I know it will pill because it's only a single ply yarn. But here is my finished object. It's hard to show in its fullness, but I can show you that it is long enough and it to go like this, and I think it sits really beautifully and showcases the yarn, the colours of the yarn really nicely. The first part, which was the single colour increases, got quite boring, and when I get to things like that, I tune out and don't necessarily, I find excuses to just do a couple of rows and then go and do something else. So one of the good things about being at Bendigo is I did take another project, but I left it in my suitcase on purpose so that I would be forced to work on this. Once I got to the stripes, it was zoom. So you're increasing all the time and then ending with a picot bind off. I don't mind picot bind offs. I realised afterwards that throughout the lace I actually didn't refer to the pattern. So there are a couple of design elements in there. I mean, it all lines up, just the ending, the way that it ends. And then with the picot bind off, I did it a little bit differently to the way the pattern called for. But hey, I love it. I will block it and try and get some photos up for Camp Loopy. So this was my Camp Loopy 2 project. I had this much left over of the Georgia O'Keeffe, which I think is about 10 grams. Now, I'm not sure how much a Tosh Merino Light is meant to weigh. I weighed them beforehand. They were both about 120 grams, but nowhere does it say that the 420 yards of a skein of Tosh Merino Light is 100 grams. So I don't know if they were heavy skeins, if they're meant to be 110 grams, 115 grams or what, which does make it very challenging when you're trying to work out your stash totals. This was how much I had left over of the Mineral. So I could have kept going and done another repeat of the lace, but I was over it by Sunday. So did that. And I think this is it's a really, really lovely sized shawl. I do love 2-coloured shawls, and you'll see that in one of my acquisitions from Bendigo. So will I knit this again? Probably not, but never say never. I think this one will get a lot of wear. The green is such a neutral green. It's not a bright thing. Most of my shawls that I've knit are quite bright, so this will be a bit different. So that was my finished object. What I then cast on is the Tycoon pattern by Josh Ricks. I am using 2 different yarns. I do have their tags. I'm using Leading Men Fibre Arts, their Spotlight base, which is 80% Superwash BFL 20% nylon in the concealed elixir base. It's concealed elixir colour. That is this one here. It's actually a lot more turquoise than what it's showing on the screen there. I got this last year. I traded with Steve when I was at the Zombie Knit Apocalypse. And on the surface, it really looks like just a very flat, straight colour. But when I undid the skein, I could see that it has so much depth that is there. And it's really, I don't think I'll be able to show you on here. I don't know if you'll be able to see. But there are actually layers and layers of colour in here. And it really is beautifully dyed. So that is my first colour. The second colour is from Stray Cat Socks, and that is 75% superwash wool, 25% nylon, and that is this colour here, which is the Holy Moly colourway. That's quite an accurate representation of it. And just popping these back in the bag, which I will get to in a minute. Which way is it? This way. So I finished section 4. Ingenious pattern. The most amazing section 1 cast on arrangement. It's just phenomenal. The way Josh's brain works is amazing. So yeah, so I've done 2 striped colours, 2 of the plain colours. I'm back to another striped colour, but I wanted to get this. I didn't want to try and show you in a striped colour because it is short rows and it's difficult to stop in the middle. So I thought I'd leave that for this evening when I get to my knitting again. Spinning Tour de Fleece. I never entered Tour de Fleece. I didn't join any teams. I did my spinning for the show, which I can't show you because that's still with Margaret, but I did some spinning. I did a spinning demo at the show, and I started there. Have I got the tag in here? I believe I do. There we are. The Fat Cat Knits Dragonfly Gradient on 75% BFL, 25% Tussar Silk top. Phenomenal fibre. Amazing. It's actually a gradient that is like a mirror gradient. So it starts off with this amazing purple, into the tealy blues, then into green. And I'm in the green at the moment, which is in the middle. Trying to get the green there. Now I've got this all on. I've got this in my Absolute Wonder spinning bag. I'm just lifting up my wheel to try and show you. That's a pretty good representation. So I'm in the green at the moment. You can see the tealy blue underneath, the light blue, and the teal under that. It has purple under that. I'm hoping to get this finished for Stash Dash because it is spinning quite thin for me. I'm hoping I will get 300 to 400 yards of a chain ply and knit it into a shawl. I've been pretty inspired by Penny Wendy from Knit One Heart 2. She's just in a TGV and some hand spun. It looks phenomenal. So I'll see how I go with this, if I get enough yardage to do something like that. But I do find the spinning so relaxing. Someone commented at the show, you seem pretty zoned out, and I do. I just zone out, which is lovely. I can just sit here at night, and I try and do 15 minutes at least at night as a wind down before I go to bed. And it's one of my, I suppose now, part of my routine. One of the things I've been working on with my counsellor is getting nighttime routines in place so that I can give myself the best chance of a good night's sleep. So yeah, so that has been the spinning I'm working on. Now I think we're going to get to Bendigo acquisitions. So if we start at the Woollen Mill, which is where I started, Bendigo has just produced what they are calling the Milky Way blend, which is 84% wool, 16% milk fibre. And I got 3 of their 200 gram balls in the Orion colourway, which is a gorgeous, it's like a steel blue. It's a vergey on a teal, but it's not it's a very dark teal if it's a teal. So I did get my 1, 2, 3. What I didn't get, of course, at Bendigo, which I did mean to get, was the sweater quantity for Jasper's cardigan that or sweater that I'm knitting him for his camp in October, but I figured I can get that next month. This is a limited release and I didn't want to miss out. And this will probably become a sweater for me. The joy of it, of course, is there's no alternating skeins because it's all the same dye lot. So, I'm trying to work out where I'm going to put things. What I might do is put them back in the bag that I have here. I do have in here some flyers, and I'm pretty sure I have... No, it's not in this bag, it's in another bag. I've taken it out because I'm thinking of using it. Whirly Designs had a pattern code, which I picked up. So, yeah, anyway. So that's my Bendigo balls. My big blue Bendigo balls. There you go. Then, went to the muster, caught up with Spinning Woody, and picked up a circular needle holder. Now, this is just ingenious, and I love it. As you can see, it has a chamber in the middle there. You pop your needles in there, and because it's timber, you pop the end through there, end on there, they don't come out. And the needles then don't poke you through your bag. This is Hue and Pine, so it's a very lightweight timber. It's light anyway because it is fairly hollow. I adore Hue and Pine, the smell of it. Hue and Pine's a Tasmanian timber and it's quite rare. So, oh, just love it. So that was my purchase from Spinning Woody. The two things I wanted to get at the show was a Turkish spindle and a quantity to make a lily-pilly shawl. So I started off at Ixchel Bunny Fibres because I knew that she would have Turkish spindles and I got one. So this is my mini little Turkish spindle. It's from Snyder Spindles, so it's an imported spindle. Spinning Woody doesn't do Turkish spindles. He does amazing other spindles, but not Turkish spindles. So this is Black American Walnut and Birch, 25 grams. So that was my spindle. I haven't cast anything on yet, but I'm really, really pleased with it. There was another one there which I really liked. I think it was a bit bigger, but it weighed about the same, but I didn't like the way the legs were quite wobbly, and that to me just didn't seem right, so I didn't get it. So that is that, and whilst I was at Ixchel Bunny, because I felt I can't leave without fibre, I got, in this beautiful organza bag, some of her Tundra blend. Now, the reason I got this is only 50 grams, but it's 25% Quiviate, Cashmere Silk, Tencel, Eco Merino, and Angora. So this is pretty amazeballs. And I was going to get a plain colour, but I ended up getting, I was going to get a plain skein, but I ended up getting something with a bit of colour, and I'm hoping to spin this up and to knit a cowl out of it, because I discovered I am quite deficient in the cowl area, and I quite like cowls for their warmth around your neck. As much as I love my shawls, they can get annoying at times, so sometimes you just need a bit of a cowl. After there, we went into the sheds next door, and I almost got some Kathy's fibre. Almost got some of the beautiful indigo dyed yarn or fibre from Nikki, but I was also conscious that I didn't have a bottomless pit of money to spend. I had my birthday money and that was it. So I went to Candy Apple Lane. Now Candy Apple Lane I think operates off Facebook, and grabbed her Rainbow Dash colourway. Now this is an 8-ply, it's Bendigo Woollen Mill's luxury base, so 200 metres or 218 yards per 100 grams. It's almost a light worsted, but I got this to make a Milo vest for a baby. Now I actually don't think I've got any friends who are expecting at the moment, so that's not an urgent one. But, you know, when you see a Rainbow Dash colourway like that, you can't just not buy it. So that was that. From there, we went up to one of the top sheds, and top pavilions really, and that's where I fell down hard. I saw Tara and Dawn, Dawn is from Gin and Tonic Yarns, Tara is from Mayhem and Chaos. They have a booth together. And yeah, I wanted to get 3 colours to knit a lily pilly, and got them from Gin and Tonic Yarns. So here we go. And that's a fairly good representation. Dawn has named her greys after Melbourne streets. So I got Collins Street, which is a sophisticated dark grey, and I got Burke Street, which is a lighter grey. I could have got St Kilda Road, which was an even lighter grey, but I didn't. I also got this amazing pinky red, which is called Hell on Heels. These are all fingering weight, 400 metres per 100 grams, Australian Sustainable Merino. Not sure when I'm going to be casting on my lily pilly, but I know I've got those. Then went across the booth to Mayhem and Chaos. Oh, the other thing I have ordered, because she had sold out, is her rainbow mini kits. There was one set there, but that was that had the red, and I wanted the pinker red for my mini skein set. So that's on order, and when she lets me know that's dyed, I suspect I might be putting in a bit of an order if I can scramble some money together. Just because there were 2 colourways there I took photos of that I wouldn't mind. But I also have to look at what I've got in my stash and what I'm going to do with the rainbow minis. There's a few shawls out there now that use minis, so I suspect that will be what I do. But we shall wait and see. The original plan, of course, was when I saw them, I might do another striped study shawl, so that may still happen. I'm not sure. My hair's flopping over this morning. It's annoying me. So over to Mayhem and Chaos. Apart from the Lily Pilly shawl, I wanted to get a couple of skeins of Worst / Aran weight for some hat designs that I've been thinking about. I'm not sure these hat designs will ever get published, but they'll probably be for me. So that's a start. So I got some of her worsted weight yarn in the Voodoo Lady colourway, and you know, sometimes names get you as much as colourways, but this is just the most amazing blend of blues. It's a bit lighter than what is showing on screen. I'm not sure how to get accurate colourways on screen, but it is really gorgeous. So worsted weight Templar, 201 metres per skein. So very nice, 100% superwash merino. Then I adore 2 colour skeins, 2 colour shawls, and I adore purple and green together. I just love purple and green together. So I grabbed 2 skeins of her Biff socks, which is Blue Face Leicester. So it's 100% superwash BFL, 400 metres per skein in Drink, Drank, Drunk. Try saying that when you're drunk. And Dashboard, which is the beautiful greeny colour. So those 2 together. I'm not sure what I'm going to do with them yet. I have had a catkin in my queue for ages. They might become a catkin, they might become any number of things, but they are just glorious and beautifully dyed. Then wandering through the one of the other pavilions, might have actually been that one as well, I came across Little Plum yarn. Now, Little Plum, I think again, does updates on excuse me, does updates on Facebook, and I've seen quite a bit of her stuff, and it's just glorious. And I'd seen this colour on Facebook a number of times and hadn't put in an order, and when I saw it there I went, oh, this is the sari colourway. It's Bendigo Woollen Mill's Luxury 10 ply, which is more of an Aran weight, and I told her about that, and she goes, hey, it's only Bendigo, I'll give you a discount, which was kind of sweet. I didn't ask for it or anything, so that's lovely, and that is a beautiful tealy green. So yeah, little plum yarn. So that will definitely become a hat. So that was my haul. Then, oh no, it wasn't, because, here we go, they had Biscuit there, which are biscuit and scone cutters, handcrafted in Australia. And Imogen and Jasper are in Dalrymple House at school, which is the dolphin house. And I found a dolphin cookie cutter. So I've bought that, and they're going to make dolphin cookies for all their housemates at school, which is kind of funny. I messaged Imogen on Facebook with a photo and said, what do you reckon? And she was like, yes, buy it, basically, I think she said in her teenage speak. So that was that. Then on the Saturday, when I mentioned when I went in, and I was greeted by the amazing Donna. Oh, Molly and Donna had made me a project bag. Oh, look at this. Isn't it just stunning? It's now got yarn all over it. So I've got my scraps down here. So yeah, so this is phenomenal. I just adore it. It has elephants on it. So you know how much I love elephants. It is the most beautiful blue lining with a strap there. I reckon Donna should start selling them, but that's just me. There is the lining, beautifully lined. It's fitting at the moment my 2 balls of yarn for my Tycoon, and now it's got caught up in my headphones, which are sitting here. There's no way I would turn the camera around and show you what's on this table because it's an absolute disaster. But still, so this all fits in here, and of course with the needles, that is coming undone. That is my self-striping yarn. Of course, the leading man fibre ice I'm pulling from the centre because I've made a centre pull ball. The other one is wound so that you don't need to. So there we go. There's my project, and it is just gorgeous. I just love it so much. So thank you, Donna. That is really, really special. Went to the Bendigo Wood Turners Incorporated, have a stall there, and I think 2 or 3 years ago now on the Australian Swappers page, someone had picked up one of these and said, I got a, what do you call those sticks where you wind the wool on? One of them. And it was dead cheap, but it's got something else written on it. It's called a spurtle. And this is actually a spurtle, which is a porridge stirrer, but you can use it as a one of those windy noster pin. That's what I'm looking for. So I got this. It was dead cheap, like we're talking $5 for a hand turned spurtle / noster pin. So that was done by one of the local wood turners. So that's kind of cute. Not sure if I'm going to use it for porridge, or I've never actually used a noster pin before or wound my own wool, so I'm not sure what I'm going to do, but hey, I was able to pick this up, so that was good. The other thing I went to get on the Saturday was from the amazing spinner Caroline, who I drilled in her booth the day before. Excuse the crinkling. Spinner Caroline does roll eggs. These are wool, silk and alpaca, 85 grams. And there we go, you can see some of the colours there. And I got these for the spindle. I wanted to have something that I knew would be easy draft to begin with, and I will be using these soon. And the good thing about this lot is it's only 85 grams, which means it was cheaper than the 100 and 125 grams ones that she had. So there we go. That is my Bendi haul. What I can't show you though is the hugs and the laughs and the tears and the joy and the sharing in people's lives that happens each year at Bendigo. I think if you have a chance to go to a retreat or a wool show or get together with other knitters in a cabin somewhere for a weekend, it's just amazing. It warms the heart. I had re-entry blues a bit last week, Bendi re-entry blues, but at the same time, the experience itself was just really lovely. The Sheep and Wool Show put out a release last week saying that after this year's show, they're the biggest in the world. I mean, I've never been to Rhinebeck. I suspect they are the biggest in that they have the largest number of live animals there. They have a lot of sheep there. I saw a few sheep, but not very many. I suspect that they probably show the largest number of sheep. As for being the largest, I don't know. I find that a really big call, knowing the number of people that go to Rhinebeck and Maryland and places like that. But I do also think that maybe it would be comparing it to those places with the number of sheep that are judged rather than the number of fibre vendors. I do hope to go back next year, but of course it will all depend. This year it was only possible because of my birthday, it was really lovely that Mum recognised that it's a special weekend for me. So that was really, really good. It's tea centre tea, and it is one of my favourite, Stockholm blend, which is just gorgeous. And yeah, it's nice to be able to have that. I think I've rattled on enough. Probably I'm lucky I didn't have my show entries to show you, because this would have gone on forever. Once again, thank you all for the most amazing support you've shown me in telling you a bit of my trials over the last few months. One of the things I did manage to do on Sunday was get back on my bike. I hadn't ridden my bike for well over 6 months, and the main reason for that was because I didn't trust myself. I thought that if I got on my bike, if I saw a truck coming the other way, I'd swerve in front of it. That's the sort of mentality I have been in. So to be actually able to get on the bike, to feel the wind, sort of not through my hair because I'm wearing a helmet, of course, but to feel the wind blowing past you, to be able to just be with yourself and be with your own thoughts on the bike, I find that just amazing. And managed to get out on the highway and get up to 100, and it was just phenomenal. So I'm glad I've been able to do that again. It's one of the things I really enjoy. I might see next time, I might even take the bike out, go to the beach or something, and see if I can record out there. I don't know. I had planned that this week, but the weather's been a bit up and down. You can probably see the sun's coming and going behind me. This weekend I'm off to Brisbane for the weekend. I've been flown down for some training, political training, to help out in an upcoming campaign. And it's one of those things where they asked for volunteers, and I said, look, I've done quite a bit of training. There's probably other people who can go instead of me. And they said they wanted me down there. So probably means I will definitely be involved in the upcoming federal election campaign. Not sure how I feel about that, but anyway, it is what it is. So until next time. So yeah, so I should be able to get some knitting done at least down there, because it's 3 days of just sitting there. So that'll be good. Until next time then, I'm going to say, Uru, cheers, bye.